Hey, ladies, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast. My Friday episode, my To the Core episode. And this is baby month, and we are talking all things babies and birth stories. It just so happens that I have that many babies to do a whole month worth of episodes for. You know what is so interesting? And honestly, that's what this is going to be. So if you're not one of those people that cares about birth stories, don't listen. But I'll tell you what, this birth story specifically is hilarious. And it has ups and downs and twists and turns. And it could not be more appropriate for who Hayes is, my second son, my middle child, the middle child. Absolutely. Now, I guess he won't be able to say that he's technically the only middle child anymore, but anyway, so Hayes, I don't know if you wanna just jump right in. Let's just jump right in because it's just me and Locke here today, and I don't know how long he'll let us do this for, so I will just jump right in. I am a little winded still, even though baby girl has dropped. So Hayes's birth story, so funny. I had to actually pull out his baby book because I didn't really remember how it started. It looks like his due date was August 3rd and he was born on August 2nd. So he wasn't too much of a surprise. And actually, for me, for him to be born that close to his due date, so Castle was 40 and 2 days and like almost 9 pounds. And Hayes was a day before 40 weeks and was 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So I guess I shouldn't say I have huge babies. He wasn't that big. He was just a good, perfect size. Anyway, so here's the funniest part about this. So again, labor starts. I'm starting to have contractions. It's the middle of the day. I remember just like ho-humming, getting up, getting ready, like doing my hair, doing my makeup, timing them and saying, "Okay, Rick, let's go. It's time to take Castle to grandma's house." So we took Castle, who was 3 at the time, over to Grandma Jackie's house, dropped him off, which is right on the way, straight down the street, straight shot to the hospital. Anybody in St. George knows this is back in the 400 East days, back when the hospital, the labor and delivery was over with the mental ward, with the mental institution on 400 East campus. I thought that was so funny that the labor and delivery, the new moms and the new babies were in the same facility as the mental illness patients. Anyway, so we just headed on down and we get there, and as soon as they hooked me up to have me start to be monitored, the contractions start slowing and being further and further apart. So I was like, "Oh, man, dang it." And the nurse comes in, and this nurse plays a huge role in this story, guys. She comes in, and she's basically, like, placating me, condescending to me. I mean, she was sweet. I'm not saying she was just a bee or anything, but she was kind of like, "Oh, you're not having this baby." She basically was like, "Well, you could go walk the halls. You could see if contractions start again." Which is probably what all the nurses would have said because my contractions, they were slowing down and getting further apart. So, yeah, it didn't look like active labor. So anyway, she basically pulls my husband aside and is like, "Yeah, she's not having this baby tonight." And she offers me a Xanax or something, some kind of sleeping aid. It wasn't a Xanax. It was, I don't even know what you take to sleep. It was something to put me to sleep, to help me sleep. She's like, "Just go home, go to bed. You're going to want to just get a good night's rest." And so she offered me these drugs. And I don't take anything like that anyway. And so I certainly never would being pregnant because I was especially mindful of it. Like I wasn't even okay with Benadryl, nothing when I was pregnant, while I'm pregnant still. I don't take anything. So anyway, she offers me that. I'm like, "Thanks, I'm good. Bye." So then in the amount of time it takes for us to leave the 400 East campus, which straight up Main Street to Rick's grandparents' house, pick up Castle, and to come home, I mean, the round trip's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. Well, as we're pulling into our house, before we get to our house, I'm like, "Oh boy, oh boy, contractions. Oh wow, these are not the same contractions. These are different. These are real. These are whoo, right? And I'm just like, Rick, these are bad. These are bad. And he's like, no, she said you're not having the baby tonight. They're just fake contractions. And I'm like, these don't feel fake. These hurt. These are really bad. And I'm just like, I have no training whatsoever in what you do during contractions. I don't know how you breathe. I don't know how, like, I'm probably doing everything wrong, like holding my breath, clenching my jaw, like, um, tightening my fists. I know that that's what I was doing because that's your natural reaction with these moments is just like the opposite of what's helpful. So anyway, we get home and he's like, she said, just go to bed, just go to sleep, take a warm bath, get in the shower. And I don't even remember how long we had this back and forth, he and I. Um, and I'm in here, and he finally says to me the best, the cherry on top is he says, she said to get down on all fours. Get down on all fours. She said that's better for your contractions. So just try doing that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so not only am I angry about that he's trying to tell me that he's not listening to me, that he's trying to just say what this nurse has told him, but not listening to his wife. But anyway, I'm down on my hands and knees, trying to get through every one of these contractions just the best I can. And he finally, I'm like, Rick, no, I mean, we have got to go back. And he's like, fine. He's mad. He's like, the nurse said you're not having this baby tonight. So he gets on the phone with his mom. He's on one side of the room in our bedroom. I'm on the other side of the room on hands and knees having these contractions, very close and very, very severe contractions. And he gets on the phone with his mom and he's like, Mom, I guess we need you to come down here and sit with with Castle because Gina thinks she's having this baby, even though the nurse said it's not happening tonight. And right then, like on cue, pop, my water breaks all over the floor. And I just start crying. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, my water just broke. And he goes, well, that's good then, right? Why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. And he says, oh, Mom, her water just broke. I guess it's actually going to happen. So I think we ended up taking Castle. We just took Castle back to Grandma's house, Grandma Jackie's house, so he could wait for Grandma Jan to come down to the hospital with us, and and we headed down to L&D. And I remember, oh my gosh, holy cow, your water, in case you don't know, it doesn't just stop breaking; it just goes every contraction. There's more. There's more. There's more. I've never been more happy to have leather seats in my car in my life. But we get into L&D, and I look back on it now, and I think, I wish I would have been more brave. I wish I would have had more information. And this is a perfect lesson for life. I wish I would have gathered as much information as I could about it. I was very closed off about it. I was like, no, absolutely not. I don't even want to have an unmedicated birth. Give me the epidural. And so I was so adamant about it that way that I didn't even look into any kind of breathing, any kind of breath work, any kind of relaxation methods, anything to do unmedicated. But now I think back on it and I think, you know what? He was coming so fast and everything was progressing so quickly and so beautifully. Like, I couldn't even step out of my clothes without a contraction. One leg would come out and I would be in a full-on contraction, couldn't move. Then I'd have to take the other leg out. I'd be in a full-on contraction, couldn't move. You know what I mean? Everything was just progressing so quickly that if I just would have had any amount of information at that point, or someone there saying, hey, this is happening really fast and going really beautifully. Just have the baby. Just let him come. If I would have had some support like that, I really, really, really think that I could have done that unmedicated. And he would have come quickly. However, being terrified, of how much worse it was gonna get and how much pain I was already in, I was asking for the epidural. And actually, you know what's funny about that is I think I got up there, and now that I'm remembering, I gotta write this down. Well, I guess it's recorded now for posterity. I remember getting up there, and the anesthesiologist actually got stuck in with twins, with a birth with twins, and couldn't get there. And so I was just like, "Oh my gosh, you better get here quick. You gotta get here quicker. You gotta somebody get here, somebody give me the drugs, somebody like," is in like pure panic over it. So it was not a quick thing getting that epidural, but however, we did finally get it. And of course, slowed it totally down, totally slowed it down. Like, might as well have just put the brakes on. So we had, mm, not my mom for this birth. My parents actually had gotten their mission papers and were getting ready to leave for the MTC. So they left for the MTC on August 3rd, and Hayes was born on August 2nd. So they at least got to be in phone contact with us before they flew to New Zealand. And then from New Zealand on to Kiribati and the Marshall Islands, where they served their mission. So anyway, yeah, my parents didn't meet Hayes until he was 11 months old, I want to say. They were serving a full they were serving a full, is it 18 months senior missionaries do? I don't know. You guys that know this, you could correct me. I'll ask my mom. But anyway, they were serving, and my mom ended up getting chicken nagaya, and I know I didn't say that right, which is a form of dengue fever, and so she had to come home for shoulder, so she got frozen shoulder. She was horribly sick, and oh, everything that you just really hope never happens to your parents when they're somewhere like that. So she came home, and so I think the first time she met Hayes, he was, gosh, I'm gonna have to look and remember, was it 11 months or was it 2 years old? I can't remember. 18 months old. I can't remember. Anyway, that's a story for another day, I guess. Anyway, so we had sweet little baby Hazy at, I think it was like 1:21 in the morning. Rick's mom, Jan, and dad, Kendall, were there. Grandpa Roy and Grandma Jackie were there, and we had Castle in the room with us. And obviously the grandpa and father-in-law leave the room for the for the best part. But anyway, I still was surrounded by the women who I absolutely adore and my sweet little guy. So we actually asked Castle if he wanted to be in the room this time for even, because with Locke, nobody could be. It was COVID. Nobody could be. We couldn't even have one other person with us. I think a couple weeks after we had Locke is when they lifted that, or maybe it was the week of, and I felt bad inviting one mom and not the other. So it was just Rick and myself. But you couldn't have kids. Absolutely not. You couldn't have anybody else in the room with you. So this year we actually asked Castle if he wanted to come in. If we don't go through with the C-section, if we decide to deliver. I don't know what we're going to do, you guys. It's up in the air. We are 36 weeks today, and I am at a 1 and 50%. Hopefully that means something. I don't know that it will, but maybe it will. Fingers crossed. No, it's too early. She needs a couple more weeks. So that's where we're at on Baby Watch, Baby Month, and that is my birth story with Hayes, Mr. Hayes. Oh my gosh, that nurse, you guys, she got such crap from the other nurses. Can you imagine if I would have drugged myself, if I would have Ambien, that's what it is, Ambien. If I would have taken an Ambien, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what a crap show that would have been. But yeah, so we pretty much got checked in, and I was like, "So where's that nurse that said I wasn't having this baby tonight? I'd really like to talk to her." And she came in and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, I would have had no idea. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "I would have been like unconscious to the world having this baby in bed and not even knowing it," which probably would have been better. Anyway, so I love birth stories. I love hearing them. I love sharing them. if you have one that you'd like to share, send it in to me. I would love it. I want to hear about it. I think that's so fun. We had our call with our newest members of the Revitalized Sisterhood community last night, and so one of the gals was sharing hers, and it was she's an older gal. She's got grown daughters, and she was sharing one of her birth stories. And it was really fun. It's something that all mamas have. We're part of a gang, we're part of a club. Once you enter that, you're part of a club. It doesn't matter how you get your baby. You're part of the club now. So you've got a birth story no matter what. If it's someone else delivers your baby for you, if your baby comes from a different country, it doesn't matter. You're part of the club, and we all have our own birth stories that go with those little kiddos. So I think they're really fun. Okay, so yeah, Baby Watch 2024 is in full effect. Ladies, I just want to wrap this up and say this is the Friday. This is my episode before Christmas, and I just want to remind you that Christmas isn't just a time for pleasing other people. Christmas isn't just a time for making sure your kids are happy and your husband's happy and your in-laws are happy, your family's happy. It's not a time for just showing up and putting on a happy face, even though you're exhausted and overworked and overscheduled and tired. And it's not a time for burnout. It's a time for making this season magical for you and your family. And what does that look like for you? You have got to identify it. You have to stop. Take the time and realize that you deserve to make the most of this time together, this time with your kiddos and your spouse and whoever else, the people you love in your life. And make it what you want it to be. If you don't want to make cookies, don't make cookies. If you do want to make cookies, make cookies. If you don't want to do gingerbread, you shouldn't be doing anything because of someone else has said you're supposed to do that. Like, what is supposed to? Well, whose definition of supposed to? Make your own traditions. I just rolled into the house today singing a Christmas song I made up to my friend Kelly, and I said, all I want for Christmas is to put pajamas on. Like, that's it. I just want to be in my house with pajamas on. And I did. I walked right in and put pajamas on and recorded a podcast episode. So it doesn't have to look like anything in particular. It's supposed to look like what you want it to look like. So in the spirit of that, I am putting out a post today on Instagram. Well, it's Friday. So I put out a post a couple days ago on Wednesday of my freebie I created, a free guide for mamas on Christmas, around the Christmas holidays. Start it now, please. It's to put you in a place of mindfulness, intentionality, to keep you in the moments, the present moments, instead of being caught up in this swirly, whirly chaos and not ever remembering again, just like birth, not ever remembering again what happened. Like what the next day you're just going, what even happened? I don't even remember yesterday. So it's just a free little guide. It's not meant to be more work for you. It's meant for you to identify that you deserve to schedule out 10 minutes a day for yourself to sit and read through these journal prompts and read through these reminders of self-care, self-love, and gratitude that are so, so, so important, especially during this holiday season. And I heard it recently said that gratitude, because I thought, I am always grateful. I always feel like I have gratitude. Guess what? Gratitude cannot exist when there is complaints or stress. It can't exist. It can't coexist with those things. Gratitude has to just be ingratitude. Like, no matter what's going on, being grateful for it, being grateful for the crazy chaos, being grateful for the weird in-laws, being grateful for the random strangers that show up to give you weird things on Christmas. I don't know. Just grateful, right? Just gratitude cannot exist when there's complaining. So ladies, go and download that. I would really appreciate it. It's free. And thank you so, so, so much for another year of tuning in and supporting me and listening to this podcast. And don't forget to join us in the Revitalized Sisterhood. If you've been missing community and connection, that's the place for you, I promise. Come over to revitalizedwomanhood.com and join the sisterhood. Thanks, ladies. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy holiday season.